Good morning, everybody. MikesMMAPicks with your Fight Morning Quick Card Breakdown show, brought to you by BetDSI as well as MMA Oddsbreaker. We are back here for UFC Vegas 41, where we have Marvin Vettori taking on Paulo Costa. Let's kick things off with a short notice fight that was put together basically on Fight Week, where we have Jonathan Martinez coming in, taking on Zviad Lazishvili, Georgian fighter who, you watch his tape in the LFA scene, brings the funk with him. He has a strong wrestling game, looking to implement his will against a Jonathan Martinez who has struggled against grapplers in the past. We've seen Martinez put on his back in the regional scene. Granted, he's come together, improved significantly, especially the fight against Thomas Almeida. Very impressed in that regard. 7,700 in DraftKings for Jonathan Martinez, and Lazishvili 8,500 minus 120 at the betting window. The odds were off right off the bat in this one at the opener, though I believe things have since been corrected. I still, in my heart of hearts, do not trust Jonathan Martinez when his back gets put on the canvas. If this fight gets extended, I see Martinez attempting to stay at range and pick Lazishvili apart, though that may be a tall task to ask. I'll be picking the Georgian fighter in this spot. Next up, where we have Livinha Souza coming in, taking on Randa Markos. Randa Markos, last fighter to the scale at weigh-ins yesterday. That was a concern of mine. You have Souza, who's coming in with a 14-3 overall record. Granted, her last win was over Ashley Yoder. And you look at Randa Markos, who also has fought Ashley Yoder and won via split decision, has been a wrestler by trade, fallen off the map, starting to slow down, make bonehead decisions, which we haven't typically seen against Amanda Ribas. That was a complete annihilation. And in this spot, I have to fade Markos at this stage in her fighting career against a Souza who, if she's able to find any space, I know she could potentially get out-muscled here against Markos, though. Markos coming in, last fighter to the scale. She looks drained as usual. I think that she's going to fall flat on her face, especially in the later rounds. Give me Souza in this spot. I think the activity is going to be a difference maker. Good morning, Brick Brose. Thank you for your attendance here. Greatly appreciated as we continue through these fights where we have a banger of a matchup up next between Jeff Molina and Daniel Da Silva, formerly known as Daniel Lacerda. Light fighters here coming in. You watch the tape on Lacerda, a.k.a. Da Silva, and he is a little killer out there. 11-1 overall record, coming in as a plus 125 underdog, $7,500 in DraftKings. One thing I'll say about this fight, I do not see this fight going the distance. I think you're going to have a Jeff Molina who's going to bring the fight right to this kid, and he's either going to sink or swim. And Molina has been a sitting duck on the feet at times. So early on, Molina can get taken down, can get put in really, really tough positions. Can he survive? That is the question. And under the tutelage of James Krause, I believe that a recipe for success may be in order. Minus 155 at the betting window for Molina. The odds have shortened here. 8,700 in DraftKings. I will say that this is a fight that you want a piece of in DraftKings, and I am actually going to roll with the underdog here. I think that he is extremely live. He has some jiu-jitsu to speak of, as well as fight-ending power. And Molina doesn't necessarily have that. He is going to engage in a war of attrition and look to extend fights and pour it on and win via volume. And Molina can get controlled. He can get put on his back. He can get out-muscled. And Lacerda is a bit of a wild man. He's a head case. I'll be picking Lacerda, but it wouldn't surprise me to see Molina finish him late. I think that there's going to be a finish in this fight, though. So another fight, let's continue up this card. Another fight where we expect a finish is we have Khama coming in, taking on Jai Herbert. Khama plus 150 at the betting. You know, I think he is a rightful underdog here. 7,400 in DraftKings. Does have a grappling edge if he's able to put Herbert in some tough spots. But the thing is, Worthy's been blown out of the water, knocked unconscious many, many times throughout his career. Minus 180 betting favorite for Herbert. Herbert also has been knocked out, but not to the level of Khama. Herbert is a solid striker, and he should potentially put Worthy in trouble here. Minus 180 for Herbert, 8,800 at the betting window. I'll be picking Herbert. I think that he gets this done inside the distance, and there is the potential for Worthy to come out and end this fight in one strike, though more likely outcome is Herbert wins this. And I'll be picking him to get it done. Worthy, though, is he's an interesting case study because if he's able to stay conscious for 15 minutes, he can hang in fights, but I don't see it happening here. Let's keep this thing rolling. Laureano Staropoli taking on Jamie Pickett. Jamie Pickett coming in as the naturally much larger fighter, taking on Staropoli, who's 9-4. Staropoli has been out-grappled in previous fights. Minus 215 for Staropoli. $9,000 in DraftKings. This line has closed slightly. I see this fight going the distance. Pickett has been knocked out, finished in the past. Besides a size advantage, the technical aspect of fighting goes to Staropoli. Look for Staropoli to stay at range and pick Pickett apart, no pun intended. 7,200 for Pickett. If Pickett comes in here and tries to get a hold of Staropoli, that's going to be a tall ask, man. Staropoli will likely be evasive here. I'll be picking Staropoli to win that matchup. Next up, let's continue this journey where we have Tabatha Ricci. Tabatha Ricci coming in to this fight. Baby Shark looking to get back on track after getting blown out of the water in a previous matchup. Taking on Maria Oliveira, who has fought on Contender Series. We've seen her take a brutal loss to Marina Rodrigues. Plus 215 underdog, 7,300 in DraftKings for Oliveira. Ricci should get her grappling going in this spot. I'll be picking Tabatha Ricci to win. And I don't like the wide line here at minus 265. I think you may want to look for Ricci to get this done inside the distance and take a look at that submission prop while you're at it. Now, the return of Mason Jones. We have Mason Jones coming in. That Alan Patrick inside the distance ticket that we had last time out did not cash when Patrick sought a way out. Now, Mason Jones was supposed to take on Alan Patrick in that rematch. Did not happen. In comes David Onama. Onama, Glory MMA fighter, is very, very explosive. 8-0 record. Also has a significant amateur record under his belt. Plus 320 at the betting window. Mason Jones, the thing that concerns me is He doesn't have the best head movement. You look up and down this card. Same goes for Jeff Molina. Jeff Molina's head movement isn't necessarily there. He does have the boxing, but Mason Jones, he has the boxing. He has some grappling to speak of. He has a full fight camp here, and he's the much larger fighter. This is a guy who's fought at 170 pounds and had sustained success up there. I'll be picking Mason Jones to get this done. It's just a matter of, can he get it done inside the distance? Onama, the raw athleticism, the explosiveness, it's there. He's also a very lanky fighter too. And the end of his punches, there's still power in those punches. So keep an eye out for Onama in the future. I'll be picking Mason Jones to win. Next up, where we have Junyoung Park taking on Gregory Robocop Rodrigues. Rodrigues impressed me his last time out. I thought this was a fighter who was juiced and was going to gas out rather quickly, but put on a very impressive performance against Dusko Todorovic. This fight is a very different matchup. We have Junyoung Park, who is a grinder, who's going to come in here with his 13-4 record and look to extend Gregory Rodrigues. Park, I see him getting the better of the grappling. The longer the fight goes, Gregory Rodrigues should be live very early. -130 betting favorite. Has power, has that killer instinct. Park may not be the most prolific finisher, but he has a knack for winning fights, and he's very durable. 8,200 in DraftKings, plus 100 underdog. I'll be picking Junyoung Park to win and score an upset in that matchup. Next up, where we have Negumereanu taking on Ike Villanueva in a dumpster fire of a fight, where you have a Negumereanu who is a durable fighter, comes forward, eats punches in bunches, and Villanueva does have some striking to speak of. He's a barroom brawler in many regards, has fought at multiple weight classes, and this fight takes place up at 205. 18-12 record for Villanueva. I can't pick Villanueva here. I'll be picking Negumereanu to win this fight in. Look at the second round prop. Look at the third round prop. I think that the first round may go to Villanueva. He tends to come out dialed in, but then the wheels fall off. And Negumereanu, we saw how he performed last time out, and I expect him to replicate a performance similar to that one. Next up, where we have Dwight Grant taking on the ageless wonder Francisco Trinaldo. Trinaldo, I'd love to see that birth certificate. Who knows what the hell we're working with. Dwight Grant, though, no spring chicken. Dwight Grant, limited output, is going to try to land hellacious power. If he can't do that, there isn't much beyond that. There is no real plan B for Dwight Grant. But on the other side of the fight, you've got Francisco Trinaldo, who, in my eyes, should be a bigger favorite in this spot. The major drawback is his age, and I know the Salikov fight, he hung in there. We cashed that ticket on Salikov. Though this spot, Dwight Grant, a lot of question marks for you. You don't really have the question marks on the side of Trinaldo besides the age. So give me Francisco Trinaldo, and he could get this done in a number of different ways. But I see him out-grinding, out-striking, and putting a pace on Dwight Grant when Grant just doesn't respond. I mean, we've seen Trinaldo against Hernandez. He got caught in a counter-strikers situation there. Now, Grant is a counter-striker by trade, but I think that we're going to see Trinaldo get off here, and he has a grappling edge too. So give me Trinaldo in that spot. Next up, where we have Alex Caceres, Bruce Leroy taking on Seungwon Choi. Seungwon Choi, the Korean fighter who is on a roll here, disposed of Juicy J last time out. Caceres also 4-fight winning streak. Caceres looked great on the scale. So did Choi. One of the concerns of mine is the lack of power on Caceres's part. Granted, he may have some volume here, but he's going to have to retract his arms after he lands these strikes rather quickly to defend himself, because Choi is throwing heat. And I don't think Caceres is going to react well when he's eating strikes from Sungwon Choi. I think Caceres could potentially be in trouble the longer this fight goes, and we haven't seen Caceres finished in quite some time. But you look at the level of competition that Caceres has faced during this winning streak, and it hasn't been a great run. Choi, on the other hand, he's been in there with Gavin Tucker. I know that. Here's the other thing. Caceres, this is his 25th UFC fight. He's 33 years old. He is a very well-spoken guy who is in the fight game for the right reasons, and he's just a pure martial artist. A great guy. I think he's just outmatched here against Choi. If Caceres is going to get the grappling going, that's something, an avenue, a path to victory, so to speak. But give me Sungwoo Choi he could potentially win this fight inside the distance if he lands 2 or 3 of these combinations that he's thrown out there. He throws heavy, man. Watch Caceres' reaction to these strikes. Granted, I mean, look at Caceres. He was in a tough fight against Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper has no striking defense, and his power isn't there whatsoever. I have to roll with Sungwoo Choi in this spot. I think that there's some quirkiness to Caceres' game. I don't think that's going to be enough here. Next up, where we have Jessica Rose Clark taking on Jocelyn Edwards. Jocelyn Edwards, the much more athletic fighter in this spot. The wrestling advantage goes to Jessica Rose Clark. If you've paid attention to her Instagram page and also social media, many folks do for various reasons. You'll see that Daniel Cormier has suggested that the wrestling is going to rise to the top here against Jocelyn Edwards. Jocelyn Edwards, though, I like what I see as far as the power goes, as far as her movement. Rose Clark is robotic in nature, lacks lateral movement, stuck in the mud. The Kianzad fight, there have been many others where throw the Alpar fight out the window. This is not Sarah Alpar here. This fight takes place up at 135 pounds. Rose Clark has had previous advantages at the lower weight classes in regards to power. She's more of a CrossFit type fighter who spends a lot of time in the gym, and I think that the athleticism here could be a difference maker. Rose Clark, she's very predictable, and if she goes to her wrestling, that's the other thing. She's predictable when she's on the feet, but if she's going to go to the ground, we can't trust her implementing a certain game plan here. So I don't trust her, but I'll be picking Rose Clark due to the advantage that she may potentially have on the ground. This pick has barely any conviction in it. It hurts to even pick a side in this spot. I'll be picking Rose Clark. After doing the tape, you can't trust her to implement a game plan, but you know what you're going to get when she's on the feet, and she can get picked apart. Next up, where we have Grant Dawson taking on Ricky Glenn. Grant Dawson, this line is extremely, extremely wide here. I mean, you're looking at minus 500 for Grant Dawson. I think that's an obscene line. 17-1 record. I mean, people look at that. People know that you watch Contender Series, and there have been a lot of folks speaking highly of Grant Dawson. Gives a great interview, comes from a great camp at Glory. But I think this line is just a little too wide against a Ricky Glenn who is tough as nails. 22-6-1 record, spent a lot of time away from the game, regrouping. 6,900 plus 355 underdog. Now, the thing is, Ricky Glenn, what can he do off of his back? Because he's likely going to be placed there. That is a situation where if this fight plays out, Grant Dawson could hold Ricky Glenn down. He's got the stamina to go 3 rounds easy. He's got the pace. He's got a lot of the attributes that you love to see in a prototypical fighter if you're planning to bet on somebody. Problem is, though, Grant Dawson, I don't trust. I've seen the last time out against Santos, he was in a dogfight there. I know he could potentially run into some trouble in the future. I'll be picking Grant Dawson here, but there are some issues that I see in his game, and I don't think Glenn is going to be the guy to expose anything. Grant Dawson, what he does, his pace basically debilitates opponents and takes away their strengths. And that's what I see happening here. Grant Dawson should put up a tremendous DraftKings score. I'll be picking him, but I really don't like that wide line of minus 500. I think that's ridiculous. All right. Up, we have Daniel Edwards, who is letting us know that Edwards is going to score the upset. I could see that happening. All right. Good morning, Stack. It's fight morning. Remember, early start time. We got a 1 o'clock start. Let's chat about the main event where we have Marvin Vettori taking on Paulo Costa up at 205 pounds. This fight was supposed to take place at 185 pounds. Look what happened. Look where we are. I believe that Marvin Vettori's stubbornness led us to where we are today, but you also have to realize that Paulo Costa, this is on him, man. He came in overweight. He tried as a last-ditch effort to play some mind games coming into this bout, and he got what he wanted. He got Marvin Vettori to accept the bout at 205 pounds. Now, do I think Marvin Vettori is the better fighter? Yes. Do I think Paulo Costa is lacking confidence? Yes. Do I think Paulo Costa is an incredibly explosive fighter capable of beating Marvin Vettori? Yes. The problem is Costa should run out of gas here in a couple of rounds. I don't see him being able to push a pace at all, especially late. He could come out of the gate hot, but then the wheels should fall off. Vettori, though, can't get into a dog fight here. He's got to play this fight smart. I'd like to see him attempt to go to his wrestling late. I could see this fight ending via submission or ground and pound, but more likely submission when Costa ends up folding late. Though, there are no certainties in this game, and there's the potential for Costa come out here and land those body shots and stun Vettori and get him out of there. That would not surprise you. He got what he wanted here with a 205-pound matchup. But the pace of Vettori, the Kings MMA cornering, the potential grappling, the cardio, the full fight camp, and the granted, they both had full fight camps, but you look at Costa, there's something going on that he had to come in this big. I don't like what I see there. So I'll be picking Marvin Vettori. I think that there are a number of ways that he could win this fight. It's likely to become a war of attrition where Costa ends up just succumbing to the pressure of Marvin Vettori, because Vettori's not going to go away. Costa's going to be there early, but Costa should fold late. I'll be picking Marvin Vettori to win. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Remember, go get what's yours. Third-party tracked. Make sure to track third-party. Make sure to tail third-party tracked winners. There are a lot of folks out there who put out content, but don't have any substantial results to speak of. Take the time to do your due diligence and look into the research of those who produce content to understand what you're getting into. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Cheers. Let's do this. Early fight.